But what I didn't realize when I joined the game industry was... Joe says, did you make your panel emotes yourself or got them custom made? I made them myself. So prior to doing this, I was a concept artist and illustrator for the video game industry for 10 years plus. I think like maybe 12. And I would do concept art like this. And I have worked on some really big titles. And I also was doing like side gigs, like freelance contract for big companies like EA. And like I have some shit from Activision, bro, and Konami. I wasn't really feeling the same feelings of passion that I initially had when I joined the industry, because when I was a kid, I always wanted to do something with games, no matter what. Like even if I was going to be like that guy in the studio that gives people coffee or like sharpen their pencils, I would love to do that. I just wanted to do anything and everything that I can to be closer to video games. So when I discovered that all the stuff that you see in games have to be designed by an artist, right? Like somebody has to come up with like Majima's like code, or they have to come up with like how the streets look like in Kamurocho. I thought that was really cool. And that's why I really trained myself really hard to become like a game creator and to create like worlds through my art. But what I didn't realize when I joined the game industry was as I worked, I couldn't play games. I don't think you guys know that. Like whenever somebody creates something, they don't have a lot of time to consume it. Like the consumption part has to come before they create. Like the reason why I'm so good with concept art and art in general is because I really like consume so much media as a kid. I watch cartoons, I play video games, I watch movies. So I built like such a deep visual library in my head of what looks cool and what doesn't. That is something that you have to have if you want to work in the video game industry. But as soon as I got into the industry and all I got to focus on was deadlines, I got to like work with like changes that clients want to make to the, you know, the art or the character. I couldn't consume stuff as much. So I couldn't play video games. I couldn't watch a lot of movies. And I missed like a lot of like game title releases, right? I was starting to feel very miserable because I loved the video game industry so much that I was willing to be an artist to be in the industry. But I didn't know that being in the industry will prevent you from enjoying stuff from the industry, right? Like I can guarantee that the people who worked on Uncharted or The Last of Us wish they don't have any memory of working on those things. Because once you know the story and you know what's going to happen and you have been working on that game for 4 years, you don't get to enjoy the game as someone who didn't touch the game in its development phase. So it took me like 10 years to work so hard and so long to realize that doing concept art and illustration for video games didn't brought me the same joy as streaming. So this is a very long story to answer your question, Joe, but as I was like kind of like breaking my way out of the video game industry, I was doing my channel art on the side, right? So whenever I would have some free time, I would create like an emote. Whenever I had free time, I would create like the background animation screen for this. It was like months of work before I officially started streaming. So I was planning my exit strategy from video games, and piece by piece, I kind of educated myself of what I needed to do to become a streamer. So I had to relearn an entire process of how to like start showing up on camera. Like I had to learn like how to set up a mic, right? I had to learn how to set up a webcam. I had to learn about like computer shit because like I gotta be like recording my shit and also streaming it and also like have my PlayStation connected to my computer. I have to like control the quality. I have to learn like what is like encoding, stuff like that, right? Like even my video editing came from a process of me wanting to like entertain people. And you know, like being in the video game industry for so long, I think like it's so satisfying to be able to play video games for a living and also interact with people. Because like one of the things that I really miss when I was an artist was I don't talk to people. I'll be sitting on my computer drawing stuff, and the only messages I would get is like from Skype, from my clients, or like from my colleagues or people that I work with, that they were like send me files and things like that. And there's like no deeper gratification, right? Like when I used to work in the video game industry, I wanted to do art for it also for a little bit of a selfish reason. Like I wanted to be recognized on the level of Hideo Kojima. You know, like I always talk a lot of shit, right? Like I always say like, hey man, I'm the chosen one. I'm the best. I'm gonna kick everyone's ass. That was the mentality I carried with me when I was doing this as a career. Like I wanted to legit be on the stage on E3 talking about the game. games, wanting to show people like what I've been working on. But what I didn't realize was when I became an artist for the video game industry, it was like a lot of behind the scenes. And in order for me to get like someone excited for what I do, I have to bring it up. You know what I mean? And I realized like being a celebrity like Hideo Kojima, it's not like what it's all cut out to be. Like you're doing it just so that people will love you. And then I realized like maybe I did this all the while so that I want people to like me. And that's because back then I didn't like myself very much. So, you know, streaming is like one thing, but in order for me to be as good as I am with this, I've had to do all of these things. I had to like myself first. I had to learn that I have to do this for the right reasons. I have to find the fulfillment in the struggle. Joe says that's ambitious as fuck, but yeah, I hear what you mean when doing it for the right reason. Yeah, whatever you're doing in life, you will be tested. There will be days where you don't want to do it, right? And then it'll start to eat at you. Hey man, do I really want to do this? Boomboxes, I just started to research info about streaming some time ago. Yeah, build up your knowledge. Look up videos on YouTube, read articles, try a lot of stuff. I can attest to that because when I was still like doing concept art for clients, I would sometimes listen to a podcast by streamers that are talking about like what is it like to be a streamer.